Hi, in this video, we're going to be talking about how to convert between radical and rational exponent forms. But before we do that, we probably should know what that means. A radical form is just a fancy way of saying that we're going to have like the square root sign that shows up, okay? So I'm going to maybe writing things like this, and that would be the square root of x, right? Or if I wanted to go even deeper, I could go like the cube root of x. And so if we see a number up here, that tells us the nth root. We call that the nth root of the whatever we're doing inside inside of the sign of x in this case, okay? So in this case, it would be the cube root of x, the third root of x, or we might have like the fifth root of, say, y, or we might have something like the 100th root of 2x, something like that, right? So we can put an algebra thing inside of it. Or we could just do straight numbers. That's just kind of what I've done here in our examples, okay? That would be known as the radical form. So we have the third root, the fifth root, the 100th root, okay? If it's not written, we assume that it's a square root, okay? We have what's called rational exponent form. We want to be able to state this in a different way, okay? And rational means fraction, okay? So a fractional exponent. And we can, the beauty of this is we can convert every single form. We can say the same thing in a different way if we know how to convert from the radical form to the rational exponent form. And so what we're going to see then is this. X, the square root of x, can also be stated as, ready, x to the 1/2 power. I'm going to show you a few more examples. I think you're going to pick up the pattern here. We could say instead of the cube root of x, we can say that it's x to the 1/3 power. Instead of y and saying it's the fifth root of y, we could say that it's y to the 1/5 power. And so you can probably imagine, now notice, the 2 is inside of the sign and so is the x. So we need to be able to say that both the 2 and the x are being raised to a power. We use parentheses to denote that, and we would say that it is to the 1/100th power. I just stated the same thing in 4 different ways, okay? The same 4 different expressions, sorry, in 2 different ways. Radical form or rational exponent form. Rational meaning fractional, okay? And that's our goal for today, is to become more comfortable with this process, because you're going to see in the examples, they just get a little bit trickier. It's not a hard skill, but it's just one we need to pick up on. Okay, so the radical, to convert from radical to rational exponent form, we take 1 over whatever the nth root is. So 1 over the second root if it's not written, 1 over the third root, 1 over the fifth, and 1 over the 100th power. Or 1 over the 100th root, sorry. And it does the same thing. And remember, all we're saying is whenever we do this, we're saying what number multiplied by itself twice would give me x. What number multiplied by itself 3 times would give me x, 5 times would give me y, or 100 times would give me 2x. Well, it's 1/100th of that 2x value, right? It's 1/5 of that y value. It's 1/3, it's 1/2 of the x value, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. That's the first video I'm going to make, nice and quick, just a kind of a definition of what radical form and rational form is, and how do we convert between them.